Welcome to Hitman Boxing. Hit that like and subscribe button. So Eddie Hearn, according to him, has been approached by a number of fighters right after he signed Danny Jacobs to a promotional deal. Now, he's saying that a lot of these fighters are tired of being inactive and they are looking for more exposure. Now, I mentioned in the video previously that when it comes to a lot of the PBC fighters, they fight once, twice a year. They disappear. You don't hear anything from them. They barely tweet. You barely hear anything from them. They don't do anything to get their name out in the media. Unless, of course, they've got a fight coming up. Then you have a 3-month period of them nonstop. But then after their fight, it just stops completely. A lot of the fighters that fight on PBC don't have an actual promoter. Lou DiBella does promote a number of PBC fighters, but let's be honest, Lou DiBella is trash. He's terrible. He's one of the worst promoters out right now. All right? He's worse than Bob Arum. You can't even say Bob Arum is that bad of a promoter when you look at Lou DiBella. Just look at what he's done with Deontay Wilder. He's done absolutely nothing to pique interest in Deontay Wilder. Now, Eddie Hearn, whether you hate Eddie Hearn, whether you love Eddie Hearn, he's good for boxing. Look what he's going to be able to accomplish with Danny Jacobs. He got Danny Jacobs a deal with HBO. I'm sure he's making a ton of money, and he's going to be exposed to a much bigger audience. What has he done since he lost to Triple G? Nothing. He's been sitting on the shelf. I'm not sure how many fights he has on this promotional deal, but, like Eddie Hearn said, who wouldn't want to promote Danny Jacobs? Who couldn't promote Danny Jacobs? His story sells itself. Who wouldn't put Danny Jacobs in front of a camera and have him tell a story? Who wouldn't listen to that? It's a great story. It's easy to promote him. And he's not even tooting his own horn that he's some miracle promoter. It's just, like, what are these guys doing? Like, these guys fight and then that's it. You don't hear anything about them. And I'm paraphrasing here. Eddie Hearn said, like I just mentioned previously, these guys, they sign on for a fight. They do the training camp. That's when you hear the most about them. But after that, you hear nothing. He feels like these fighters should be promoted 365 days a year. Look at Anthony Joshua, man. When does the promotion ever stop for him? It never stops. Dillian White, look at these guys. And I'm about to stop using the excuse that they're fighting over in the UK and the market's bigger for them over there or for boxing as a whole. I'm going to stop using that excuse. What is the PBC doing, man? Honestly, what are they doing? It seems like they're running less and less cards. It seems like the cards that we do get, they're not that great anymore. I was excited for PBC when it first came out. I thought it was a great idea to have boxing on free TV. It's a good idea. It's just poorly executed, right? And I don't know who's to blame. I don't know if it's Al Haim. I don't know. Errol Spence don't got a promoter. Eddie Hearn could look into picking up Errol Spence, man. There's a bunch of guys that don't have promoters and are just sitting, waiting for fights. And they're not getting fights. So, I was thinking that maybe, and, Eddie Hearn, this is all his account of events. I don't know, how accurate it is, but just by going off what he says, he's saying that these fighters are sick of being inactive. He didn't drop any names, but, we could look at the list and see who's inactive. It's 90% of the PBC. They're inactive. Fighting once and twice a year. And a lot of these guys are in the prime of their career. And they're not being showcased. How do you expect to build or create the next Floyd Mayweather when these guys aren't even talked about outside of the boxing world, outside of the realm or scope of what's on YouTube? Nobody talks about these guys. Why do most people come onto YouTube and comment on these boxing videos? Because they have nobody to talk boxing with. You know? Not everybody. I'm just saying there's a lot of people that do that. That's why they comment on the videos. That's why they go back and forth with people and make videos. You know? I'm not really into making response videos to people because that's a little, weird. But anyway, Eddie Hearn is what's right for boxing, man. Lou DiBella sucks. Look at Canelo and Golden Boy. And I'm not even trying to big up Golden Boy, but I mean, Canelo fights twice a year, but he's talked about all year round. Triple G's talked about all year round. You know what I'm saying? Think about how that would benefit a Deontay Wilder. Think about how some positive press could benefit Deontay Wilder. Like, what is Lou DiBella's old as shit, and he's a cornball. So Eddie Hearn has this promotional company in the USA. Unfortunately, it's not super easy for him to just sign all these American fighters and then just start promoting them. It's a process. But I do believe that he will sign on more, U.S.-based fighters to his promotional company. And hopefully their names can be built up. Hopefully Danny Jacobs does well. Hopefully this doesn't fail. I don't want any of these guys to fail. I don't want Al Heyman to. I don't want the PBC to fail. But you gotta change the business model or something, bro. Like, it's not working. It's not really working like that. I mean, come on, man. It's frustrating. But hopefully more of these PBC guys holler at Eddie Hearn. I mean, Danny Jacobs is still advised by Al Heyman. It all works out. It just so happens that Danny Jacobs is put in a better position by joining HBO because now he has easier access to Canelo. He has easier access to Triple G this time around. Even though the first fight was made, but I'm just saying it's easier access this time around. Think about, let's see, who could I could use for an example? Let's see, Manny Pacquiao. Nah, I'm not going to use that. I don't know. I guess I'd have to think about it, but I'm just saying a lot of these guys could benefit from having a promoter, especially since now most of these guys aren't like Adrian Broner and they're not very vocal. Sometimes you got to have somebody talk to you, talk about you to the media, to people in general. Just like the $1 Million Man, son. Hitman Boxing, let me know what you think about Eddie Hearn getting his USA bread. Hitman Boxing, I'm out.